Fully Loaded Chew is tobacco-free, long cut in pouches that gives you the same pack, dip, spit, and buzz that you're used to without tobacco. Fully Loaded Chew comes in 9 flavors and is made with all food-grade ingredients and tobacco-free nicotine, the purest form of nicotine there is. To give us a try, head on over to fullyloadedchew.com for a $1 can of chew with free shipping when you enter the code OUTDOOR1. OUTDOOR and the number 1. Lastly, many outdoorsmen are trying to quit tobacco altogether, and Fully Loaded Chew may be that first step. For more information on our product line, visit fullyloadedchew.com.
You're listening to the Average Conservationist podcast, brought to you by Go Hunt and in partner with 2% for Conservation. Sign up today to become an insider at gohunt.com. 2% for Conservation's mission is to create an alliance of businesses and individuals that ensure the future of hunting and angling by committing their time and dollars to fish and wildlife. 1% of your time plus 1% of your money equals 2% for conservation. 2% helps businesses and people pair with conservation causes to support things that fit what they care about. Whether you're into fishing, hunting, or just getting outdoors, 2% can help you not only start giving back to wildlife, but get certified for it. Getting 2% certified means you've made the same commitments as popular brands like Sitka, First Light, Stone Glacier, and Seek Outside in giving at least 1% of your time and dollars back to wildlife. But it's not just for outdoor companies. Breweries, contractors, coffee roasters, and even piano repair companies have earned 2% certification and stand out as leaders in their community for doing so. Businesses that are committed to conservation deserve your business when you shop. Learn more about 2% for Conservation at fishandwildlife.org. That's fishandwildlife.org. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Average Conservationist podcast, and I'm your host, Marcus Ewing. We've got a fun one for you today. Today I'm joined by Dane Williams and Dustin Gasho, and they are the founders of newly 2% certified Hard Side Hydration. For those that may not have already heard or be familiar with Hard Side Hydration, they are a brand that kind of offers a very, I don't want to say necessarily unique, but a very innovative way to consume your water in the backcountry. Really what stemmed from some issues that they had on some backcountry hunts with popping some water bladders and kind of being in a bad spot very early on in a trip, led them down the path of kind of creating a device that attaches to the top of your Nalgene or water bottle that you can still run your hose from, just like you would from a water bladder, with the bite guard and everything like that. So super cool idea. It works out well. Both Dane and Dustin are big outdoorsmen, and Dustin actually is an engineer. So it was kind of a match made in heaven when they decided to launch this brand. Dustin kind of talks about the process of, designing, the prototypes and the products, and then using a 3D printer that he has to, mock some of these up and kind of really get the ball rolling on that. The way that they kind of look at, not only what they offer now, but what they, plan to offer in the future is really kind of providing, all of these great and easy ways to stay hydrated in the backcountry, to really make it one of the things that you don't need to worry about, that you don't have to think about, and give the user a ton of different options. We also get to talk about why conservation is such an important part in what they do and their background with the outdoors, and how as they got older and circumstances changed from how they were introduced to hunting and the outdoors, with new opportunities, kind of shed some light into whether it's the public land, keeping public land public, or just maintaining habitat and things like that around the state of Michigan where they're both from. What's also super cool, and you'll hear this in the episode, is Dane is actually a lifelong friend of mine. Dane and I grew up together. We grew up around the corner from each other, and while we're still really good friends, for the longest time, he was my ace. He was my guy. So to see him and Dustin build this brand, build this company, come out with this super cool idea is so exciting, and I could not be happier for these guys. So really cool episode. If you haven't already, definitely be sure to check out Hardside Hydration. So episode 65, Hardside Hydration. Before we get into the episode though, I want to take a minute to tell you about our friends over at Wild Rivers Coffee. At Wild Rivers Coffee, they're roasting in small batches so that they ensure that the coffee arrives at its peak freshness. Wild Rivers is also a proud partner with 2% for Conservation, and they believe in preserving the wild places and wild things that bring all of us so much joy. That's why with everything they sell, a portion of proceeds is being donated back to conservation organizations that are near and dear to them. So you're going to get organizations like Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, Ducks Unlimited, Trout Unlimited, and Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. So go to wildriverscoffeeco.com and order your fresh roasted beans. They have some really awesome handmade mugs, a ton of cool sweet merchandise. They also have a ton of accessories for grinding and brewing your coffee at home. So if you subscribe today, you can save 10%. The Guatemalan is my personal favorite. It's one that is, I make sure, I do my best to make sure that I never run out of it. And if you also, like I said, if you subscribe, you will save 10%, but also at checkout, if you use the promo code, this is all caps, fish_wildlife, you're going to save 10% off your order as well. So do me a favor, check out wildriverscoffeeco.com. All right, joining me today on the podcast, I have the founders of 2% certified brand Hardside Hydration, Dane Williams and Dustin Gasho. Guys, how are you?
Great. Thanks for having us on.
I'm Dustin, don't mind this, but I'm gonna give Dane a little bit of shine here and give kind of our listeners a little bit of a background. So Dane and I grew up a quarter mile away from each other. We did everything together as kids. I mean, we played every sport together. We got into high school. We rode together to school every day. Either he drove or I drove. Dane and I go back as far as any of my friends. Probably like my first friend that I can really kind of remember. So when he first approached me that they were starting this brand, he was kind of talking me through it. And then, fast forward to asking some questions about 2% and then actually launching the brand. Like this, I'm just so excited for the two of you guys. Like I'm super pumped that we could get you on, and I'm really excited for the listeners to hear more about the brand.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'd say the same. It just goes back so far, and it was awesome just to talk with you at the start, getting going, and to be here now. And right at the start, we knew that was the direction we wanted to go with 2%. So
yeah. And we'll definitely get into 2% and kind of the conservation side of the company and everything like that. But first off, I think what you guys have with Hardside Hydration is such a cool product, and it's like I think of it as a really like innovative idea. Although when you look at it, like it almost seems like a no-brainer, right? Like why aren't people doing this? So tell me about Hardside Hydration, what it is, and what it is that you guys offer.
All right. Well, I guess since Dane has had his time, I'll talk a little bit. So basically what our first product is a cap to go on a Nalgene bottle or similar type bottle with the same cap size, and it turns it into a hydration pack so you don't have to carry a bladder. Basically, we're not big fans of bladders. We've had bad experiences with them. It's washing them out, putting holes in them, just failures of different kinds. So this was kind of the thing we'd been talking about, and it just kind of grew out of frustration out in the backcountry.
Yeah, I'm very hard on equipment, and probably like my first time, going in, doing a backpack hunt. I had 3 other guys with me, and I lean back on my pack, and I'm like, man, and my back is so wet. There it is. I popped the bladder, so we're like 10,000 feet, and now my water capacity is down to, where I'm at. Like I just popped like a 96-ounce huge Nalgene canteen thing. I'm like, man, we got to rethink this. So from that trip on, me and those guys were kind of talking, and Dustin came along too, and it's just, we're having the same experiences of, just wanting to make something that's more durable. so you don't have to be worrying about that in the backcountry. So.
Yeah, we were out in Colorado last year, and I had I wasn't using a bladder, but I had a bag that I used for water filter.
Okay.
Squeeze the bag, and I had filled it up, and I set it on a rock, and I didn't drop it or anything. I just set it there, and all of a sudden it started leaking. Like there was a little pinhole in it. It just started, and so that got me real frustrated. And we were hiking later that day, I think, and I said, well, I can tell you one thing. I had a smart water bottle in my pack. It's like, I'm not going to be doing this next year. I'm going to run a hose into that smart water bottle.
Yeah.
And Dane turned around and he said, no, what you need to do is put it on an Nalgene. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll do it. He's like, it doesn't exist. We've looked.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we'll make it.
Yeah.
Here we are a year later, and we've got it.
Yeah.
It's funny how, and I've had some other guests on in the past who, for whatever reason, whatever, product it is that they're offering or that they make, like it kind of stems from like a need that they see or like a frustration that they have, right? Especially like in the backcountry when, the last thing you want is for any of your gear to fail, right? Because, for the most part, like, I mean, you may have like a few backups or something that you can kind of string things together or patch things up with, but like, puncturing like a bladder, like, I mean, you may have some duct tape or, I don't even know what you have that's actually going to hold, like a platypus or some type of like bladder like that. So when there's a need, I feel like that's when, you just, like you said, you're just kind of spitballing, right? You're just like, I'm just going to run a hose into this. And, Dane says, well, why don't we put in an Nalgene? Like it's bigger. That's what you guys are already using. And it's like, oh shit, this is a great idea, right? Like, let's see what we can do. So kind of walk me through the process of what that looked like. Well, let me back up here. So what else? So you have like the lid. It's called the swig rig, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that attaches to a Nalgene bottle or something similar that has like the same cap essentially. So what else is there kind of in the whole package there?
Yes.
So there's a straw that runs down into the bottle. So we make the straw long enough it fits the 48-inch tall Nalgene, the silo.
Okay.
One. You can cut it down for shorter bottles, for like a 32-ounce bottle. But so it comes with a straw and a little one-way silicone valve that pushes into the top, and that's really what keeps it leak-proof, but still allows air to get in there, so you don't have a vacuum lock in it.
Okay.
When it's sucking out of the.
Whereas
pipe.
the bladder's compressing when you go to suck the water, it's compressing. Whereas ours, that valve's allowing the air to come in. So that was the key to it, So.
And that's the other thing about bladders. When you got them in your pack, you got 2 liters or 3 liters of volume, and then as you're drinking, that's going down, and things are loosening up in your pack and shifting around. And
you just tighten you cinch your pack down before you started climbing, and now you start climbing. You're drinking a lot of water. It's hot as heck out, and now you just got a loose. Your bag just got a bunch of empty space in there.
Yeah. So out of that cap, and then we have a tube, a hose basically with a bite valve on the end that you run over your shoulder or out of your pack or wherever you need to be.
So, I mean, I'm fortunate enough. I have one of your guys' the swig rig. I think it's it's the 48. It's the silo. It's the big one that I have, the tall one. And one of the things and I haven't had any experience actually like proper backcountry hunting, but one, it's got to be a pain in the butt to pull the bladder out of your pack, get it filled up, get it back in without, spilling water all over the place. Or, when you pack things the first time with a full bladder, like everything, if you're on a 5, 7, 10-day hunt, whatever it is, like everything fits in there nicely, right? Like it's nice and compressed and compact, like where all your stuff's at. Then, maybe 2 days in, you got some food that's gone, but things have shifted around. You've emptied your pack, half dozen times at that point. Just the ease of being able to just like put it in the pouch, the outside pouch on your pack. Like it seems like it's easier to fill up. It's easier to access. And as opposed to like if you're just, if you have to like if you don't have the hose on it, right? If you're just carrying an Nalgene, right? Like I feel like you're probably not stopping as much or drinking as much because you're like, okay, well, I've got to stop now. And then, you stop to take a water break and 2 minutes turns into 10 minutes and then, you maybe lose some momentum. So like with this, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah. And, I've had the pleasure of hunting with a lot of different people and we all use different packs, but some of those packs make it really easy to get a bottle out, and then some of them are pretty difficult. They're great packs. It's just, however, if somebody just wants to only strictly use a bottle, it's difficult sometimes to get that bottle out, and pretty soon you're like, oh, your buddy's helping you, and you get your bottle and you get a drink, and that's kind of like right along with what you're saying is, just that ease of being able to, to have the ability to see how much volume you have left in your bottle, but also being able to drink through the hose with it and have that water that's there, when you want a drink. Usually if you don't have that set up, you're either stopping and taking big drinks with an Nalgene or,
Yeah, I think that's a big one too, is like knowing how much water you have left. You come to water and you're like, hey, do we need to stop to refill? And guys with bladders are like, I don't know. I think probably drank maybe a liter.
Unless you get X-ray vision in there, but but the guys that have the people that have the water bottle, they're like, yeah, I'm about halfway down. I might as well fill up, and they just fill up real quick. But if you got, we have some ideas for some videos here, of some funny videos of you come to the water source and dude, like, I don't know how much I got, and he digs his stuff out and his bladder's full. It's like, man.
Yeah, and you waste all that time and energy just to dig it out, and then you got to finesse it back into its pocket in your pack. So no, to me the benefits are many and obvious, over the use of a bladder.
Yeah, that's definitely the kind of stuff that just made our decision easy as we move forward with our company. Of like, we believe in it, and we think it's gonna help a lot of people with hydration stuff. So.
Yeah, and obviously anyone who's spent any time in the backcountry knows how important, that is. Especially you take guys from the Midwest like us and, you put them at 9,000, 10,000 feet, you guys have done it enough, like what to expect, how your body's going to react to it. But, you take someone who it's their first time, they get 8, 9, 10,000 feet, like they don't quite understand, like their lungs, like their body just ain't ready for it, right? So. Yep. They find themselves drinking a ton of water or, elevation sickness. There's all sorts of things that water can kind of come to the rescue of or really help you with. And to puncture a bladder on the first day, it's going to make for a long trip for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now walk me through the process. So you guys had the idea, you kind of brainstormed the idea or kind of talked it out, I guess, last year when you were out elk hunting. So what did the process look like from the time you guys had this idea to actually like the prototypes, like doing, the engineering, all that to actually launching the product?
Yeah, I guess, for me originally, back in even 2018, we kind of had that idea with some other guys that I was with. And, and finally last year, 2020 is when the idea started in September, when I was, Dustin's the kind of guy where you can bounce ideas off of, and he knows how things work very well. So we bounced that idea off, and he's like, "That's a good one." So from there,
So my background's as an engineer, so
that helps.
When we got back, like I started designing it up, and I have a 3D printer, so I printed a bunch of different prototypes, and we would try them out here and there, and kept working on it until we got something that was going to work really well. Like everything on that cap is there for a reason. The way it's designed is there for a reason. We put a lot of thought and time into developing it, and then we wanted it to be strong, so we went into a number of different injection molders to try and find somebody who could help us with the kind of volume we were looking at. We weren't going to make hundreds of thousands of them. We needed to start small. We're bootstrapping it, so we wanted to find a good partner, and we found somebody out of the Chicago area that could help us out, and we started looking for suppliers for the other parts, and slowly it all came together. And
a lot of we designed a lot of different prototypes, and like you said, every one of them was a little something, and and we wanted to get more out there. I mean, between both of us and all our friends, I would have loved to got one for everybody, but when we didn't have that ability because of our product is BPA free. It's so we had to get stuff that you could drink through to prototype and to check it. So
all of our components are water safe, NSF drinking water, approved materials.
So couple questions based off that. How tough was it, or how much did you guys have to learn? Well, how much did you guys have to learn about that, like the BPA free, water safe, like all that stuff? Or was it, since you weren't like actually like filtering it or anything like that, it's just you're drinking through it. Was it fairly straightforward?
It was fairly straightforward. I knew whatever was touching needed to be, meet a certain standard. So I just did some research on the standards. And so we don't actually have to meet NSF drinking water standards, but we do because it's just too easy not to. There's no reason not to with all the availability of materials out there.
How cool is it? I mean, Dustin being an engineer, I mean, I know enough engineers to kind of understand a little bit of how their brain works, and they just tend to see things a little bit differently or analyze things a bit differently. Like, how cool was it for you, when you're designing these prototypes at home, and then you're using your 3D printer to print them out and just kind of get a look at it, get a feel for it? I mean, how cool was that process for you?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I mean, that's what I do. That's when I'm in my element, and that. The thing is, for me, it's always kind of what's next too. So we have a lot of these prototypes, but we have prototypes of other things too. Like, like the first, I think it was in October, I sent Dane a picture and I was like, check out these 3 different products I got made up. So
I was like, whoa. I mean, it went from like, hey, this is an idea for me to like, hey, he's already got these, I knew he had a 3D printer, but it was like, I got these to try, let's do it.
Well, that I'll get to that question in a little bit about what may be coming down the pike, what you guys want to, or how you guys kind of want to expand your offering. I know, so you guys just launched, 2 months ago, I think? Is that about right?
July, like end of June.
Really at the beginning of July.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you're coming up on 2 months. So I know it may be early to ask, but, well, I'll just ask it now. Like, do you guys have, like, anything that you're prototyping, you're working on that you want to like add to the product line like as time goes on?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, we have prototypes for the narrow mouth Nalgene, for a smart water bottle.
Okay.
Cap. And those kind of go together. So it's an adapter that goes on the smart water bottle that fits the narrow mouth Nalgene.
And a lot of folks will know, those also work really well with the Sawyer filter. So that's something we ran last year was the Sawyer filter using those smart water bottles. So, because they're so light.
Yeah.
You weigh like a couple ounces.
Yeah, there's a few
ounces. So light, and they're really durable too. So that's something for the.
But there's other things we're working on that are in its infancy right now.
Yeah.
But those are some of the things that would be kind of expected products. And we want to do things that, support those products. Like, I guess we can talk about that.
Well, I don't want to put you guys on the spot. I want you guys to divulge anything if you're not ready.
We definitely want to, we don't want to just be a container for hydration stuff. We're hoping to expand into some hydration products in the future too.
Yeah.
We have some ideas, just working with even being a dealer for some other companies. We're working out some stuff where we can possibly provide some stuff through our website and,
okay.
So
Right
kind
on.
of be a one stop for others to our website.
Yeah, but it's hydration. Sure. Like everything we don't like about hydration is what we're targeting.
Yeah.
Everything we don't like about going out in the backcountry and, not being able to drink how we want to drink. When you're out of breath, sometimes it's hard to bite on that bite valve and get enough water.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something we're working on. There's just everything that we have frustration with is kind of where we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd imagine that if you guys are having frustrations with certain items or certain things, like there's probably a whole lot of other people that are experiencing and having those same frustrations as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like our just checking out, just going through, whenever we recognize a problem, we're trying to think of something. So if we have nalgenes that we know, yes, they're very durable, but they're, they might not keep your water as cold. So we're working on something for that,
Yeah.
Some insulation sleeves and stuff like that to just so that as you go through the seasons, you can have different, if it's middle of the summer and your Nalgene bottle is sweating all over and there's, it's pooling up, you can put a sleeve on it, so we're working on some things like that.
I mean, all of these things that you're telling me and all the things that you're, have ideas for or maybe are already working on. I mean, I think, isn't that kind of like your slogan or your tagline is like, the backcountry, like hydration solution. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we have
I feel like I saw that somewhere.
Say, but yeah, we have a lot of things we played with, like rugged hydration for hardcore adventures. We have a lot of different stuff, but yeah, essentially that's what we want to do. We want to make it easy, so it's not something you have to think about or worry about. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's been the biggest hurdle for you guys throughout this entire process of prototype all the way to launch?
I think speed, getting things done on time, in order to, because we knew the season we wanted to launch in was spring, and we couldn't get there in time. And so that's when people are gearing up for a lot of their adventures in summer. But, I think it kind of all worked out in the end. Yeah. Launching in July was good for us. Give us some extra time to prepare some things. And
everything just takes a little longer. We thought we were ready to go, and it's just like, oh, we had one more change to make, with our mold and stuff. So just another month, And we launched in end of June, early July. It would have been cool. It would have been great to be like, start of April or 1st of May.
Yeah.
So, that's what back in January we were starting to make all the moves to try to make that happen. So
try and capitalize on that spring bear season.
Yeah.
So I know, at least through talking to Dane, I know you guys have shared your product with a lot of people, through kind of the prototype phase to get, feedback and stuff like that. So what has that been like, working with a lot of people who, are predominantly, strictly Western hunters? What has that feedback been like for you guys?
Yeah, we've had some good feedback. We have people that are going to be using them this fall on hunts and going in totes and going to have it with them. It's, it's definitely, for some people you have to some people right away, they know what it is. Like, I don't like bladders. Please send me them,
Yeah.
We've done that with everybody we can find, but there's also people that, think about it a little bit, and then it takes a little while for them to get where we're going with it. But we've had some good feedback, and, we've had a couple, people that in the industry that we've reached out to early on, and they've mentioned us and stuff on some podcasts, and just kind of getting it going.
I think all the feedback's been really positive. I can't think of anything really negative that came back that we had to think about changing anything really.
No, just a little customer service, explaining a few things to people, but we're trying to provide the best customer service and help people and put out. We've realized hey, we got to do some YouTube videos and some videos to get our content out there, to not only just to put it in writing, but to have some instructional videos on the website and stuff. So
yeah, that's for sure. I mean, and with what you guys are offering, like 2-3 minute little tutorials, little videos, like this is how it works, this is how it all goes together. I've seen some of the stuff obviously that you guys have put out, so like I know what you're talking about. But it feels like in this day and age, like everyone is way more visual in terms of learning. So like if you can just like, and everyone's got access to YouTube, to the internet, right in the palm of their hand almost all the time. So it's like super easy. You see a post about something, hard side hydration, what's this? Boop, right on their website, or, there's their YouTube page, whatever. 2 minutes in, like they know exactly what it is and what they can expect out of it. So yeah, that's cool. I mean, feedback is Yeah, it's always good. And I'd imagine, Dustin, as an engineer, I mean, you're used to kind of fine tuning and refining things, throughout the entire, process of whatever project it is you're working on.
Yeah, I think that's difficult for a lot of engineers, is settling with something that might not be perfect in your mind, but is your 90% solution, and you need to move forward with it. So it's one of those things where you just kind of got to release it and be like, okay, well, we'll see what people say. We hope they like it.
We inspect a lot of our caps, make sure we're within specs and everything. We've had no problems. Everything is working great. So
I think one of the aspects of just starting the business, it sounds ridiculous to say it, but we really underestimated how much we would have to be involved with social media.
Oh yeah.
Like neither of us had any social media accounts prior to this because
Marcus knows.
It's just not something we did.
Hey, what do you think?
But I mean, that's something that was probably the most difficult to learn for us so far, and we still screw it up all the time.
I mean, so first off, kudos to you guys for getting to the point you're at in life and not having social media accounts. Like, very well done, guys, because it can be a double-edged sword at times, right? And I'm sure, like, the more you guys start to spend time on it, the more you'll see that. But yeah, it's weird, like, especially, Dane, obviously our birthdays are like 2 weeks apart, right? 3 weeks apart.
Right.
Like, so I know how old you are. And it's just a weird feeling being on social media all the time, or like posting a video of yourself. Like, I've been doing it with the average conservationist for 2 years now. I'm like, I still don't feel comfortable doing it. Like, I've done a few, like, holding my phone, recording me talking. I'm just like, it's weird. Like, I'm never going to be comfortable with it.
Yeah, it's a really powerful tool. It's definitely hard to get used to for, I guess, some generations. You don't know it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So how was it that your guys' paths crossed? I mean, how did you guys, obviously you can tell you guys are good buddies, you're hunting buddies, you guys have the business together. So how did you guys meet?
We played professional basketball. Professional basketball.
Some crazy dudes that get up at like 5 a.m. and meet at a community center and play ball at like 6 a.m. That's us. So, we met like playing his brother played and a bunch of other guys around Gaylord. We play and so that's where we met, probably right when you moved first.
A couple of years ago, yeah.
He's from the area close by us where we grew up too. And then
our kids are in the same class in school, so it just kind of fell together like that. Really.
Yeah, our kids go to the same school, all that. So we started hanging out, and then a couple, probably like in 2020 or whatever, we were like, hey, you should come on an elk hunt.
Yeah, this will make us sound really old, but we like playing cribbage together.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, I'm never gonna knock. I love cribbage, man. Like, I don't know if it's a Midwest thing, because some people will like see a cribbage board and they're like, what the hell is that? Right? But no, I love cribbage. So the fact that we're good there. We're on the same page. Yeah. So, Dustin, where are you from? If Dane said you grew up, or you're from an area around there.
Yeah, I grew up in Fairview, Michigan.
Yeah.
Town.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Far from Joburg here, where we are now, but.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so I grew up there, but then I was, living in other parts of the state and other parts of the country until I moved back up to this area.
Yeah, there's often times where, when I was younger, I had this need, like, I'm like, man, I want to get out of here. Like, I want to experience, like, the bigger city, like, just more people and stuff like that. And then you get to experience that, and, the whole allure of that wore off really quickly, right? And I'm like, now, in my mid to late 30s, I'm like, I would give anything to be able to live back where I grew up. Like, it's just, things are so much simpler. It's just, there's way more access to the outdoors at any given time, as opposed to kind of where I'm at now. So, no, that's a cool story. I like that. Yeah,
I was able to, like you with college and kind of got out, but ended up back in this area, But
it's certainly a great place to live, and especially to raise a family, for sure. So, kind of sticking with, where you guys are at and everything like that. Like, how did you guys both kind of individually get started in the outdoors? So Dustin, why don't you go first?
Yeah, so I grew up, like I said, in Fairview. It's a real small town, but I was fortunate enough to grow up on 200 acres. So I grew up in a family that hunting, whitetail deer was a big deal, and that was kind of our big family holiday was Thanksgiving because it was in hunting season.
Right.
So all the family would get together and go hunting, and we'd enjoy Thanksgiving dinner together and then go hunting again. It was kind of the thing. So yeah, I got involved in that. I didn't do a lot of fishing growing up, but we had a little creek running through our property that we could catch brook trout in and stuff. So I would do that from time to time. But yeah, just growing up on the property really is what got me involved in hunting and just being outdoors and enjoying that.
Yeah. What about you, Dane?
Both of us kind of growing up in, the town we did, it wasn't same as Dustin. You could get out in the outdoors pretty quickly. We were both kind of grew up in town, but, it was nice. Both your dad and my dad both really, were outdoor people, but, growing up with my dad, it was as early as I could remember going brook trout fishing, and he hunted basically all season from turkey to we did lots of fishing, but he did all the hunting too. So it was I remember early on just knowing that I love the outdoors and this is what I wanted to do. So we did a lot of deer hunting, whitetail deer hunting, and mostly everything in Michigan though. It was all anything we could do we would do that. And I remember, as I started to get older, like 12 years old, we had to be to start deer hunting. I was out there with my bow at 12 trying to whitetail, but nowadays, my kids, I've had them out in the woods even earlier, it seems, just because now with the youth hunts and different things, Michigan's changed. It's really that age. I would have loved it back then if, as we were kids to be able to go and be able to actually go hunt.
Everybody wants to hunt in September.
Yeah.
It's certainly a lot more accessible for the youth since we were kids, and I think that's great. Being able to get kids involved at a young age, kind of spark their interest early on is kind of key and critical to kind of essentially recruit that next wave of outdoorsmen and outdoorswomen.
Yeah, that's definitely that's something my dad instilled in me is love for the outdoors, and I'm doing that with my boys. I have 3 boys ages 9 to 5. So, but going along with my experience in the outdoors, we both played. I played a lot of sports in high school, and as I got closer to I thought of maybe trying to do something with college stuff, but I just kind of knew it was like, man, I'm ready to just enjoy the outdoors and kind of focus on hunting and fishing and, and do that stuff. So, went to college, and I'd come home during hunting season, and that's kind of where I really started I was hunting in high school and stuff, but once I started coming home in college, and I was like, I'd come home a couple of days early from college, and my dad retired, my senior year of high school, he retired. So, now this guy, he worked with the state of Michigan DNR, so he was a heavy equipment operator. But I'll come back to that in a little bit anyway. But so me coming back home from college was great at that time of the year because my dad was, he was able to hunt every day.
Yeah.
He was hunting and all this, and we got spots picked out all over, so it was a great time for me as a kid coming home in college and hunting and stuff. And somewhere around there in my, in my 20s, I really started to take notice of like, hey, I'd like to figure out all this meat prepper, just doing everything myself, butchering. I started really diving into that, and it's kind of been a passion since then for me is, taking, cleaning all my own game and making different sausages and sticks and anything jerky. I do a lot of different things with meat, venison. So, but that's about when that started. But then, so I just kept on that track. But somewhere along the way, I went to a guide school because my degree was in outdoor recreation management. It's a degree, But from there, a guy I was in school with, he's like, hey, I'm going out to this guide school in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I'm going to use this as my internship. You want to go? I'm like, yeah, I'm in. So I think I was 21, and I went out to Wyoming and did this guide school. It was a month-long school, month of June. It was put on by Dave Hanna. He's out of Jackson Hole, Hoback. It was in Wyoming there. But, yeah, we did the guide school, and I was like, man, this is what I need to be doing. So I stayed out there he asked me to stay on and work with him that summer. So instead of going home with my buddy, I'm like, man, I'm going to fly home. I stayed there till it was August, till I had to go back to college. And I'd already signed up for classes, or else I never would have went back. But I stayed out there till August and flew home, and then did that semester. But the next year I was like, all right, I'm taking the falls off. So for the rest, when I finished college, it took me a little longer just because I took for the last 3 years the last 2 years, I didn't do any fall education. I just would, I'd leave and go out to Jackson Hole, and I'd stay there from May through November, come home and hunt, and then go back to school in January. So that was my last couple of years of hunting. But I really got an appreciation for Western hunting, the mountains, and got to be in some really cool areas in the Bridger-Teton National Forest. And learned from some of the best guides that have been doing it their whole lives and owned outfitting businesses. And I got to, during the summers, we took families in on pack trips in the Yellowstone area and did fly fishing, and it was just a great time too. And then I got to stay there for the fall and do hunts. So.
Yeah, so I knew that you had obviously spent time in Wyoming. I guess I didn't know to like the extent of it, right? That you were like, I didn't know that you had basically were like, I'm done enrolling in fall classes. Like I'm just going to take like winter and spring classes. But I mean, if you can afford to do that in terms of like if you don't have anything kind of keeping you in there for the fall, like that's the way to do it, man. That sounds like a pretty good gig. The fact that you didn't end up in Jackson Hole and came back to Michigan somehow is kind of a mystery to me.
Yes, it is.
It's a little crazy.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, and who knows? Maybe I'll be back out there one day. But it just met my wife, and it was hard. I really had such a great bond hunting with my dad and stuff, and you'd be gone for 6-7 months. And it's like, man, it was a long time. I wanted to get them out there, but. Yeah, he did. I did get him to come out once with me and go on a hunt, or go not on a hunt. He just came in and got to go fly fishing, and I took him on a horseback trip and stuff like that. So
yeah, no, I can imagine.
Still, I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. It's just the outfitting and guiding business it's a fun thing to be able to take people that this is their dream hunt. Yeah. Most people you meet people that are. It could be a guy that goes every year, or it could be a guy that's just an average guy that's been saving for the last 5 years, and this is his chance.
Right.
And you're the person that gets to take him on this adventure. So
yeah,
it's fun. So
yeah, that's a cool experience. I mean, I've talked about it with some past guests before with being able to kind of share that experience, like, and you kind of get further along, like in your outdoor journey, right? And you've maybe had your share of successes, your share of failures, like you've kind of been through the highs and the lows, and you get to a point and it becomes much more than just killing an animal or catching a fish, right? It becomes more about the experience and the time spent in the woods or on the river, on the lake, whatever it is. And then once the person gets to that point, then they're like, okay, I want to share this with other people, right? Family members, friends who have never got a chance to experience whitetail hunting or Western hunting, or catching a brookie on a fly or something like that. And that's when I feel like you almost kind of hit like peak maturity, right? As an outdoorsman, right? Like you're just like, okay, like I know what I'm capable of. I know what that feeling is like, and how kind of, not to sound like cliche or poetic, but it's a very euphoric thing, like harvesting your first animal or any animal for that matter. And to be able to have someone else or be with someone else and they experience that, I mean, that's kind of like life-changing stuff, Yeah. So with the company, and obviously one of the reasons I'm super excited that you guys were able to join me on this podcast is Hardside Hydration is 2% certified. So, how did you guys first learn about 2%?
for me, it was, I told Dustin about it, but I know for me, it was through your podcast, I was listening to it, and I start, early on, I was like, oh, that's, so I've been kind of following it, and it was just a dream of mine that once we got this company going, it would be to do it, to do 2% and to kind of commit to that. So,
yeah, Dane told me about it, so I was all in.
Yeah, I think for me, it was a no-brainer. Once cool. It's what we want to be doing with our business anyway, and some, so to be able to have the avenue to work with other companies in 2% and be able to have that platform, it was a good thing for us.
Yeah. So for me, growing up on private property, my dad was a really good manager of the property and the wildlife there. But growing up on private, that's all I knew.
Right. And
I went off to college, and I'd come home and hunt. And then after I graduated and bought a house, it wasn't a city, but it was your money wasn't going a long way. It was outside the city. But I was like, oh man, I can't hunt here. I have like 2 acres. Where am I going to hunt? And so I started noticing more of the importance of public land and just how it's on all of us to manage it and take care of it, so that we all can enjoy it. I never really had to face that until I had to, basically. So I think I think that's something that, we wanted to do with the company. We didn't want it just to be a company of takers. We want to give back.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to look at it, because, you're selling to people who are, for the most part, I mean, outdoor recreationists. I mean, it's kind of a blanket statement, but, that encompasses a lot of, hunters and anglers who are inherently taking from the land. So to be able to, use your platform, your business to be able to give back to public lands, to habitat, wild places, and certain species is awesome. And I mean, I know that both you two have other jobs, and this is like kind of a side business or a passion project, whatever term you want to use. So the fact that you guys have made that commitment, to me, just kind of speaks volumes to the character of you two, what you believe in terms of the outdoors, and how you view things as conservationists as well.
Yeah, we want to start in the way we want to go, in the way we want to grow. We want to start that same way. We don't want to say, well, once we get to a certain growth point, then we'll start giving back. We want to start from the beginning, no matter what we can give something. Yeah,
every little bit helps. And I mean, and kind of on the note of conservation, I mean, I'm super excited. This Saturday is actually Community Conservation Day through 2%. You guys are coming down towards my way a little bit, and we're gonna participate in a cleanup in a local game area down here. So I'm really excited to get you guys down here and just kind of meet some other people who are 2%, who have brands that are 2% certified, just other volunteers in the area, and just really meet a lot of like-minded people who have the same passions and interests as we do.
Yeah, we're excited. I'm excited to be down there with Saturday there.
So what are some of the organizations that you guys are working with or giving back to?
The Pigeon River Country Association, that's one where it's really close to here. It's basically just north of Johannesburg where we live. Right off the start, we're starting with some of these local associations, but for me growing up, that's the area I hunted, and that's the area I take my kids to hike on. And there's the heritage, the high country pathway trail is like 70 miles of trail system that runs right through the heart of the Pigeon, and it's just it's an area where we want to be working with that association to see how we can help them. Starting right now, they're working on some discovery centers for kids and things like that where we can be out there. But next year, we're also going to be working on some trail stuff with them, just working on that trail, hopefully, and getting that cleaned up. So that's,
we're, start off close to home. Just, like you said, we have we have day jobs right now, and so we got to do what we can do with our time. So starting close to home makes sense for us, but we have bigger ideas too for that, for giving back and the organizations we want to support.
Yeah, the backcountry hunters and anglers. Even before I've had a family membership with them before we started the company and stuff. So so we've been reached out to them and doing some stuff in the future with them too. So
yeah, and I like the approach the approach of kind of keeping things local, because Dustin, it's like you said. I mean, that's kind of where it's the easiest. I mean, because with essentially 2 jobs. And everything like that, like your time is pretty valuable. So if you don't have to drive 2 or 3 hours away, which you guys are going to do Saturday anyway. But if you can you can have a good impact right there close to home, and where you guys are doing recreating. I mean, yeah, that's kind of the stuff that kind of makes you feel good about the giving back aspect. Is it's directly having an impact on where you guys like to recreate. So, as we kind of wrap things up here, I always ask my guests this, because everyone I ask always has a way cooler answer than what mine is. So, what do you guys have in store for this fall? I mean, I think antelope season opened in a few states, a few western states today. So, what do you guys have kind of in store for this fall?
Well, that sounds like fun. I'd rather be doing that than what I'm doing right now. It's just, I think we're both doing the youth hunt with our kids coming up the second weekend in September. And then a few days after that wraps up, we're headed out to Colorado for an elk hunt.
Yeah. Archery elk in Colorado.
Yeah. What else?
Yeah. So then that puts us back in, and whitetail hunting in Michigan here. And then I've been heading to Ohio and hunting some public ground down there. Be heading down there. This will be like the 10th year I've been going down there. So we'll be heading down. I'll be heading down there during the rut, the first part of November, and then try to make it back to Michigan in time for some rifle hunts and stuff.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of it'll be a full fall. Most of October, my boys are 9 and 8 and 5, and Dustin, you're
we're 9 and 6, yeah.
So. Last year a lot, but I'm out there and I got ladder stands with double ladders and everywhere, and it's I'm really excited to get the boys out, and Emmett's starting to just get the cams back on his bow, so it'll be he'll be just up in the tree stand looking this year, but after the youth hunt I'll still take him out to do some archery hunts with him and stuff. So and then we got Ohio and then rifle season. So, and sometimes if I'm not successful during bow, I'll try to sneak back down to Ohio for their late season muzzle loader too.
Okay.
And,
business wise, I think we might have a couple products showing up on our website here in, I don't know, maybe a month.
Yeah.
And then, and then we're planning for some new stuff next year, the beginning of next year.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys have any plans to try and hit up some of these trade shows and stuff like that? I know that obviously, like this year, especially like here in Michigan, with some of the shows I participated in the year before, they were still canceled and everything like that. So do you guys have any plans to kind of hit the road with Hardside?
Right now, we're planning to hit the Western Hunting Expo in Salt Lake City in February.
Okay.
We're going to try and make that work. There's a lot that has to be done between now and then, but that's the plan right now. But other than that, nothing's on our radar right now for shows. I know there's one in Wisconsin. I don't know. I guess we haven't got that far into it.
Yeah, we're definitely that one in Salt Lake, and then that's a big thing on our radar. So
yeah,
and then next fall, continuing to plan. It's making sure the points are ready, and I have a lot of Wyoming points that I've been building and trying to figure out which one to do and stuff. So I'm kind of excited because it's been I've been going out west the last 3 or 4 years, backpack hunting, but I may look at doing some later, we might get into some rifle hunts next year a little bit, and that will kind of free up. I know my wife, I've been kind of putting her in for bear points, so she could draw for Michigan bear this year, but next year I might put her in if I know I'm going to be here in September. So usually I've been going elk hunting, and then it's like, that's when Michigan's bear hunt is, and so I got some bear points, and so does my wife, so might do a bear hunt in Michigan here. So
next year, I think we'll plan on doing probably some more shows in the summer, maybe show up at TAC, some other stuff.
Yeah, we were. We love the Total Archery Challenge, and we're hoping to get some booths out there next year in Michigan here too. So
trade shows are always tricky because you just never quite know, the turnout that you're going to get, and I mean it's all a learning experience, but something like any TAC event or like the Western Hunting Expo, I mean you're going to get tons of people, and those are obviously the people that you guys want to target with your product. So no, that should be a fun road trip for sure.
Yeah I don't know, Salt Lake City in February, getting over the divide there, it could be tricky.
I didn't think about the February aspect of it. I was just thinking about, I was out there last September just doing a little Western road trip, and it was September, so I was like, oh yeah, that'll be a breeze. I mean, it's a long drive, but a lot of good scenery. But yeah, February is a different story.
Yeah, we might have to fly out.
Yeah.
Ship everything out.
Yeah.
Real quick before I let you go, where can everyone find Hardside Hydration at?
We have a website, www.hardsidehydration.com. And we have a Instagram, which is at Hardside Hydration, and we're on Facebook too.
Awesome. Well, Dane, Dustin, I really appreciate you guys hopping on today. I really enjoyed talking to you. This was, as I said, at the beginning, I'm super excited for you guys. It seems like there's a lot of really good buzz. I've seen a lot of really cool kind of reviews and people talking about Hardside. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the future has, not only for just the products you have now, but obviously a lot of the products that you guys kind of teased about throughout the episode here. So I'm looking forward to the future for you guys.
All right. Thanks, Marcus.
Thanks, Marcus. Really appreciate it.
All right. Take care, guys.
See you Saturday, buddy.
Yep.
Thanks.
See you Saturday. All right. Well, thanks again to Dane and Dustin for taking some time to tell us about Hardside Hydration. Definitely be sure to check them out. I would also like to thank the partners of the podcast, Wild Rivers Coffee Co., Go Hunt, and Stone Glacier, as well as 2% for Conservation. And if you're interested in learning more about 2% for Conservation, you can visit their website, fishandwildlife.org. And there you can see all the certified brands that have committed to conservation that you should support when you shop. I also encourage you guys to give 2% a follow on social media, where it's going to be only positive content, so you'll enjoy their conservation-focused posts in your feed. So again, if you'd like to learn more about 2% for Conservation, you can look for them online on social media or at fishandwildlife.org. Thanks for joining me this week, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Remember, this Saturday, August 21st, is Community Conservation Day, so be sure, get out, donate some time, get your hands dirty, and if for some reason you're not able to get out and partake in a cleanup or something like that in your local area, now is a great time to join a new conservation organization or possibly re-up on a current membership that you have. Anything that we can do to further improve wildlife and all of the great work that these organizations are doing. So until next time, stay safe out there, and remember that conservation starts with you.